said we're good, but
Yep.
I don't see the light. All right, everyone. Thank you for waiting. We are only a little late getting started. So we are here for the Newton Planning Board public hearing meeting, on October 28th, 2025. Let's start by saluting the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We can probably jump right into it. So we have one item on the agenda. It is for Streamline Glass. We have an application for business occupancy.
Mr. Gibbons.
Oh, and before I go through this, I would like to seat Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you.
So this is for the 125 Development Corp. 9B Puzzle Lane. It's a conditional use permit and change of use. If you want to get started, you can just go up to the podium, tell us about your application and what you are looking to do.
Sure. I'm Brian Shaw. I'm from Streamline Glass. We're a glass fabricator, manufacturing glass products and selling them throughout New England to glass shops and glazing contractors. Our primary business would be the manufacture of shower enclosures or storefronts that you might see in a mall or a doctor's office, that type of glass product. Not windows, not automotive, not furniture. It's a new startup organization founded by 4 industry veterans. The business is highly automated and differentiates itself from the rest of the industry by being very automated driven, very technologically driven. We anticipate a smaller workforce than most, but it's a more skilled job. I brought a small layout showing the facility with all the machinery in it and then an overhead view. There's only a couple of noticeable changes. I'll walk through those in a minute. We're also in the process of a code review with Sam Zanini. We have an architect who's working for us to make sure that everything is in compliance on his front. My understanding of what kind of got this going was that the prior tenant didn't have had a lot of power that went into the facility. We need a little bit more in order to power the machinery, which is what kind of brought this thing into focus. To be evaluated for a warehousing space versus light manufacturing. So we do have a new transformer that's with Unitil now that's going to get put in the existing spot where the current transformer is and use the same underground lines. For the operation of the facility, we plan to run roughly between 6 in the morning and 10 in the evening. Different from the prior tenant, who my understanding used the large parking area out in front to stage product and material. All of our operations are going to be inside the building. We expect between 8 and 10 employees on the floor and then a small office staff, so probably roughly 15 cars at any given point. Other than deliveries for the typical UPS, FedEx, USPS, we expect to have a couple of trucks per week bringing in raw material, 18-wheeler, tractor-trailer type trucks. We plan to monitor their use to ensure there's no unnecessary idling, and we'll post it if that's an issue. In terms of our own delivery vehicles, we have 3 on order, which are all smaller vehicles, like 10-wheeler type vehicles that we intend to store either inside the building or outside adjacent to the loading dock so that they're out of the way. On the drawings that I brought over, the front page, if you orient it such that the writing is up, that gives you your north point. The blue space is where our business is intending to occupy. I put a yellow star where the existing transformer is and aligned to the building. We're just replacing the existing transformer using the same underground footprint to power the machinery. In green against that loading dock is roughly the size of the trucks that we intend on storing outside. If we store them outside, we may store them inside if possible. And again, we have 3 of them. On the second page, it's really just to give you an overview of all the equipment that we're bringing into the facility and to show the additional office space that we're building out. The red is an existing office space. We're kind of squaring it off and adding a space and then adding a second floor. The overall floor space of the 2 floors of the office is about 2,000 square feet. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or address any concerns.
So I have a couple of things. So you are here for 2 different things,
Yep.
even though it is the same business being proposed. One of them is the change of use that's going from the industrial use to the light manufacturing use. That's the simple component. So we will have to have a public hearing for that. I don't have any comments regarding that. I have a few simple conditions I would recommend. The other component that you are here for is a conditional use permit. Sorry, it's very a conditional use permit because this location is in the groundwater protection district that we had amendments to that zoning ordinance last year. And because this is a industrial use, it is not a prohibited use by any means, but because all industrial and commercial uses require a conditional use permit, and this is a new use, that's why you're subject to that review. So I'm gonna ask a couple of questions just to verify, and then when we get to the public hearing, I'm also gonna read the conditions just so they're in the record. Might ask you to comment on 1 or 2 of them as applicable. So, you guys okay if I just ask a couple questions related to, it's the conditional use permit with the aquifer protection district. The first one, are any hazardous or regulated substances used as part of your business? Anything that is toxic, anything like that? Are there any floor drains within the unit?
None that I've found, no.
Okay. There are none registered with DES, but it's just good to verify. Will you use any significant amount of water in the manufacturing of this? Any at all?
We will use some water, but we have a pretty extensive water filtration system, so we reuse the water in a closed loop system.
Okay, does any of that water get contaminated by any?
No, the
Substances
only
that
thing
are
that we have
used?
that would be a contaminant would be glass grindings, which
Okay.
are solid and my understanding, allowed to be disposed of as normal refuse.
Yep, okay. You don't use any substances that might contain PFAS?
No.
And you're only gonna be using the septic system on site, no holding tanks, no, okay.
Other than for our water filtration system,
Yep.
but again, it's a closed loop system and it doesn't tie into the existing plumbing at all.
Okay,
So the only water usage would be domestic water.
all right. So when we get to the conditional use permit, I'll read through all of the conditions just so that they're on record, but I'm done with any questions I specifically have. So if you're ready, you could ask your questions, we could open the public hearing for the conditional use permit.
When we take jurisdiction, do we do it?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, you do need to take jurisdiction.
Should we do it for both together or one at a time? 'Cause
You
it's
can
2
do it for
things.
both together.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion to take
do that.
jurisdiction on both.
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I guess to get started, does anyone have any questions?
No, I'm fine with going right to the public hearing.
One question I did have, just kind of looking at the machinery here, the closed loop water system is neat. How noisy is all of this?
I haven't turned all the machines on yet. We're still working on the process. We've been having a discussion with our safety group about whether we're actually going to need hearing protection inside the facility or not. It's that quiet. It depends, I guess, on how much machinery we're running at the same time, but we don't anticipate it to be noisy at all.
Okay. And outside the building is?
Shouldn't be any more than talking level.
Yep. Yeah.
I think 80 decibels is where one of the OSHA cutoffs are in terms
Right.
of requiring hearing protection. We expect to be below that inside the facility.
Okay.
I actually do just have one question. This is about 25 employees total or at a time?
In total.
Okay.
We're going to run one shift for most of the facility. There's a couple things that we may have like an overlapping shift or something like that.
Yep.
But direct headcount on the floor at any given time, we expect to be like 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
Plus maybe a mechanic, a supervisor, that sort of thing. So I've said 8 to 10, just as kind of a buffer.
Thank you.
But we expect probably 25 would be about where we would top out. At least on site. We may have people off site, customer service people, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was more thinking about parking because I know we did make a decision to kind of limit the actual parking spaces that are out there,
Yeah.
and that seems to be fine.
My understanding is that they're going to repave the parking lot next year at some point, and we've said maybe we want to add a couple of parking spots. There's plenty of space to do it.
Right.
But just, we kind of want to figure out how things operate because, we don't see the need to line the whole space
Yep.
and go crazy with it, so.
Mr. Gibbons, got any questions?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Everything understood, yeah.
Should we so for this, we can open it up for the public,
I would do the conditional
for
use.
I was just gonna say, for
would do that
the
one
conditional
first.
use permit. And then we'll talk about the change of use after.
So this would be for the groundwater conditional use permit.
Correct, yes. So at this time, does anyone from the public have any questions or comments on, right now we're doing the groundwater conditional use? Very nice presentation. Okay.
It was very thorough, and I mean, you explained,
Excellent.
that's why I didn't have any questions. It was so thorough, we don't normally get them that good.
I agree to that, yes.
Okay.
So are you ready to close the public hearing?
I am good on closing the public hearing for the conditional use.
Okay. So my recommendation for findings of facts and conditions, and this is where I'm going to read the conditional use permit requirements, but the finding of fact be that the application meets the conditions and the spirit and intent of section 28 of the zoning, specifically the conditions required for granting the conditional use permit in the groundwater ordinance, which is the proposed use will not detrimentally affect the quality of the groundwater or drinking water resources. 2, the proposed use will not cause significant reduction in the long-term volume of water contained in the aquifer or in the storage capacity of the aquifer. 3, the proposed use will discharge no wastewater on site other than typical discharge by domestic wastewater systems and will not involve any on-site storage or disposal of toxic or hazardous waste as in here defined. 4, industrial, nope, that one doesn't apply. The proposed use complies with all other applicable sections of this article. The proposed use may include reasonable conditions attached, such as permitted by the planning board regarding construction and operation. And then finally, prior to rendering a decision regarding the possible approval of the conditional use permit, the planning board shall afford the Conservation Commission an opportunity to provide written comments. No such comments were received, although encouraged on future ones. So with that, my only recommendations for conditions of approval would be obtain all local, state, and federal permits as applicable, and that it must meet all life safety codes.
Right.
I will make a motion to approve as stated by Jen with those recommendations.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next one, I just had it,
Just
was
the
the
change
change
of
of use. So, I mean, for this one is, I think we've talked about this we've had this come before us a couple times before. This is really just kind of
It's just ensuring that this use is compatible with the site.
Yep.
The site does have a site plan on file. We know that there has been a conditional approval for an amended site plan that has been before this board and outside of this application. The use is allowed. My only recommendations for the change of use would be and you still have to have a public hearing, but obtain all local, state, and federal permits, no outside storage of materials other than vehicles associated with the business. And then finally, the hours of operation, which I have 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Was that correct?
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring that up because usually what we'll tell people is you want to keep a buffer on either end of what your normal use would be, just to not box yourself in.
Now, is there, if for whatever reason business is really great, is there a prohibition based on this decision that I cannot operate any hours outside what we've talked about here?
You would
Yes,
come back
you would have
to
to
the,
come back. So,
That's why I bring it up, yeah.
so if you would like more latitude, now would be the time to ask.
So knowing that everything is going to take place inside the building as opposed to outside the building, is there a reason that the board would object to me saying that we're going to operate around the clock?
So it's, noise outside, traffic, lights, shining through the woods, like just stuff like that. Is the spirit of why we have those, yeah.
Again, I don't anticipate that, based on the way the business is set up, there's only one kind of linchpin piece of equipment that we know is going to be our bottleneck, and it takes 2 people to run. I obviously don't want to preclude us from being able to run that piece of equipment more hours than after 10 o'clock before 6 a.m. I guess I'm looking for a recommendation then what the board would recommend. Should we do it the way it is now and we come back and ask for permission later on?
So my recommendation in this instance is, I think that given the number of people you're sort of talking about, is really gonna be traffic and lighting. So perhaps hours of operation can be a 24/7 operation, but delivery times get restricted to maybe that 6 to 10?
That's what I was thinking, just trucking wise.
Right.
Any
So that
neighbors
there's no backup alarms and stuff at
Yep.
night,
Yep.
to where that would stop at,
Candidly, I expect that to stop at noon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just the way that our suppliers work
Right.
with bringing material in.
But how
in
about
terms of
we could-
memorializing that, I'd be
but
happy to do so.
we could say in case your trucks come back, whatever, from making deliveries too,
Right.
put it at 7 o'clock at night
Okay.
for deliveries and truck, but internally, we could do 24/7.
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
inside the building is up to you.
The neighbors aren't dealing, like I said, with the backup alarms and whatever from the trucks and listening to them
Yep.
come in and out.
I'm
So is
A-okay
it
with that.
agreeable to have hours of operation, maybe 24 hours a day? However, deliveries are limited to between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess my only comment that I'm thinking of as you guys are saying that is just kind of that balance of glaring lights at neighbors while trying to illuminate the parking lot for people coming in and out in the middle of the night.
So the parking lot, as per the conditionally approved,
Right?
has the lights that are there were actually reduced and given a waiver to be reduced because of that aspect.
Correct, but so this wouldn't be changing anything about that?
No.
No,
That's fine.
yeah.
And the lighting that exists now is plenty, in my opinion, for the couple of people who are going to be
Right.
coming and going from.
Right, I know what you were getting at, though. Like, right now,
Like,
those
turning
lights
them
run,
on,
right now,
turning them
those
off
lights run all
versus-
night. And if that's not changing, then,
Yeah, what's it matter?
yeah, right.
You know,
So you still have to have the public hearing,
Yes,
but
okay. Any comments on this? No?
All right, with that being said, I will make a recommendation to approve with, want to do them one more time, Jen?
sure, the change of use being that obtaining all local, state, and federal permits as applicable, no outside storage of materials other than vehicles associated with the business, and just, that could be delivery trucks, that could also be employee vehicles. And hours of operation, maybe 24 hours a day, with deliveries limited to 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And all state and applicable, did you say that?
I'm sorry, what?
All state and
Yeah, that was
applicable.
the first one.
Okay.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
So within 5 days, you'll get an emailed copy of the notice of decision, and it'll also get signed and recorded. With that, and we'll notify the building department. You'll be able to go and work with Sam on going through the building. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
See, looking at the agenda here, we have 2 items, well, 1 item really under board business. So we have the updated amended site plan for 9 Puzzle Lane, map 14.
And that's being
27-4.
postponed.
Yeah, the status of that is that it has not been recorded yet because there were some issues at the registry. So they're gonna bring another Mylar and I'll take a review of it so that it can get signed and recorded again or attempted. The registry is very notorious for kicking things back, so it's not unexpected.
Yeah.
And I do have one other just real brief thing. Because of the changes to state law and the accessory dwelling unit regulations, our next meeting, we're gonna go through that. The rules are already in effect under the state law, but basically your accessory dwelling unit regulations, you can't require a conditional use permit anymore. I've talked with Sam, the building inspector, about how to deal with that in the interim until those rules get changed, but you do need to be in compliance with state law, so that would be the intent of that change.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
And if there are any other zoning things that anybody's itching to change, I've heard one, I got one inquiry about doing a citizen's petition to amend some regulations that I don't know if that citizen's petition will be put forth. But if you guys have any small things that you're looking to maybe want to change or have seen things that you are wanting to change, let me know. Time is running out to make
Interesting that you
changes.
bring that up. So there is somebody that's been asking about signs in the commercial area for zoning, because we have very generic sign laws within Newton.
You do. I will say that most communities do have more comprehensive sign regulations. Sign regulations can become very convoluted, detailed, and if there is an issue, I'm happy to work through it with you, but sign ordinances can become very complicated very fast.
It's because Sam is the one who approves that, right? Is for an existing,
Yeah, there's a few caveats with site plans where you guys do review signs.
right, but it's only for new,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
But you can't regulate the content of the sign. That's a Supreme Court case. You can only regulate time, placement, and size.
I think not to get too into it right now, but the issue is in our laws, it talks about flashing lights.
You can regulate lighting.
And for somebody that wants to do like a digital display where it's LEDs, is that flashing? Okay. Yeah, well, that's an easy answer.
No, because it would be a constant light.
Well, if it's like a price thing for,
Yeah, the reason flashing lights are often not allowed are that because it can be distracting for drivers.
Right.
But so a strobe.
it's the way it's worded in our ordinances is very, basically nothing about it. The way it's worded is sign laws from 15 years ago before LED existed.
Right, but LED lighting, the light from that is totally different than what you're talking about, like a strobe light that would be flashing.
Yeah, I wouldn't take an LED light specifically to be that flickering. I know LEDs, if they're underpowered, can do that little
They always
bit,
flicker.
but
There's, you know, there's also a brightness problem with those too. If you saw when
And that's where it kind of gets into that
when they
gray
first
area.
put the sign down in Plastow,
think we
area with
We
the.
could definitely take a look at
the-
that, right?
I came home one night and that light was so bright that, on the common down there, that it was like distracting to even take the turn.
Yeah.
But within a week or so, they'd turn the bulbs down, however they reduce it. So there may have to be a lighting, area thing. Because you see even some of the...
Yeah, like a lighting measurement
Yeah,
almost,
because
but,
some of the, even some of the signs on 495 for a while, they had them way up too bright, so it's like, you know, so you just have
yeah,
to...
that's where you get to being a very convoluted.
Yeah,
Salem has very specific laws, they're a bigger
care.
town,
Yeah.
it makes more sense, so
I will
just,
say, I do have one community I circuit ride for that, you know, they have a color temperature preference of all of the
that's what I
outdoor
was
lighting.
getting
Yeah,
I mean, to get really into the
Yeah.
weeds, which we can do an ordinance if
Yeah.
you would like to go that route.
I don't think it's necessarily, I think we have so few commercial areas, that
Yeah.
just, understanding the intent behind it is important, that's all.
So if we wanted to review, let's just use that example. If we wanted to review, we have to do that at a meeting, right? Because we can't all get together and review something.
So you
without
may
being-
review it on your own whenever you would like.
Just me.
That's what
But
Yes.
I was.
I more meant as a team.
if you wanted to have like a subcommittee,
Yeah,
you could have a couple of you would need to notice it.
yep,
You wouldn't be able to make a decision,
right.
but if you wanted to have like a subcommittee to work on it or discuss it, we could certainly
Yeah.
do that.
No, I was just more asking, you know, so it's really upon us individually to say, hey, you know, this seems to be an issue.
I mean, we could talk about it at a work session more comprehensively too.
The other thing I was going to ask is, do you guys see anything on the select board that has been a recurring thing that any ordinance changes would,
Not really.
okay.
I haven't heard anything from the zoning board either. That's
Yeah.
like the perpetual thing that someone asks for in the zoning board. You guys tend to not get that as much
Okay.
in Newton.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Nice.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from September 23rd, 2025 meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Approved.
And with that, we can close at 7:44. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Keith.
Yes, thank you.
Keith.
No problem, I just